Emily, I'd like to think that we're drift compatible, but
not a chance.
We are hardly podcast compatible.
Mm-mm.
No, just kidding. I think we are. I think we're incompatible in the way that we agree too much.
Yes.
So it doesn't make for a very riveting debate-based conversation.
Absolutely.
In the way that a lot of podcasts are like, no, your opinion is wrong. Let's have an intellectual discussion. We're both just like, I think it was really good. I like the Muppets. Do you like the Muppets? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Maybe that would make us drift compatible, but I think that I don't think that you could man a Jaeger.
I can hardly drive a Subaru.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hardly move my own body about any space.
And I've been told that I'm not spatially aware at all, so I don't think either of us would be.
So maybe we would be drift compatible in the way that we would be the worst team ever to pilot. Like,
absolutely.
Like, just immediately punches self in the gut and just, like, rips the head off.
Yeah, well, I also wouldn't be able to look at you after knowing that you've seen all of my inner thoughts and feelings.
True.
So.
Anyways, this is The Swamp. It's our podcast. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting. And today, it's Dare December still.
It's still Dare December. And we're a little late this week. Sorry. You know, the holidays. We don't get paid to do this, so whatever.
Yeah, it was also Dara's birthday this week, so
oh my god,
happy birthday!
Oh my god, I'm 25, so my brain has stopped developing, which is horrible news for all of you at home. I'm so sorry.
This is the best it's gonna get.
We should just actually end the podcast.
Yeah,
actually, well, we can wait until you're 25.
Okay, and then it shuts down.
Yeah,
Got it.
Then it's only gonna be
just a downward spiral from here.
But I chose the movie Pacific Rim. Upon retrospect, I don't really know why I did that.
I was gonna say, this doesn't seem like your sort of movie.
Well, so, I don't love this movie. It's not, like, one of my favorites. I didn't pick it.
I assumed it was.
No. I didn't pick it because I think it's, like, really great or anything. But I chose this movie because I think it's an interesting place to host the conversation around action movies and like sci-fi action, but specifically action and big blockbuster action, high budget, high CG action movies. And this is sort of like my pass-fail litmus test for like those kinds of movies, is if it is better or worse than Pacific Rim kind of falls on a spectrum, right? Where Pacific Rim sits right in the middle.
Yeah.
Because this movie came out in 2013, so exactly a decade ago. This movie's 10 years old. And I think a lot of movies today that are made that have the same, if not bigger budgets, look the same, if not worse, than this movie does.
Worse.
And I'm like,
this movie looks amazing.
Why does the new fucking Aquaman movie look like shit?
Dude, oh my god.
Every time I go to the movies, I see that fucking ad. What is it called? Aquaman, Justice of the Deep, Leagues, 10,000 Leagues Under My Beard. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. That movie, that trailer pisses me off.
Hate it.
Hey, so I bet you're wondering how I ended up here. The king of the Atlantis. And then the effects look so bad. I feel like I'm getting flashbanged by like unrendered CGI. It just looks so bad.
No, I feel like Jason Momoa did so much great work in Game of Thrones, and he's just thrown it all away.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on him as an actor because I just feel like he only does shit where he has to show up and be big. So it's like, okay. And I don't watch a lot of those like big high budget, like I guess he was in the new Fast and Furious movie or whatever.
Care.
I don't know.
Don't care.
I don't know.
Like, you're not an actor at this point.
Yeah, you're just a huge man.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just a guy people want to fuck.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, that's what I feel like the main character is in this movie, which we can get into, like, the undeveloped, like, the most half-baked, underdeveloped protagonist of a film I've ever seen in my life.
He was hot. Obviously, he's hot.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it. And it's hardly.
I was going to say he's blonde.
He's so generically attractive. Yeah. And he has no personality. So it's just like, what is happening? What are you working with? Nothing.
The 2-day romance?
I don't really, I can see how women who are have their panties in a twist about Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Because he's like...
That's him. That's the guy.
Yeah, he's Jax Teller. Or I don't even know what his fucking name is. I think that's it, though. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-laws are all watching Sons of Anarchy. Like, they started, like, doing it ironically.
Yeah.
But now they, like, can't stop until they finish the whole show. I get it.
I think that's what I did with Peaky Blinders. And then I was like, wait, it's really great. Wait, it's really good.
Peaky Blinders!
We're the Peaky Blinders.
I am just so engrossed in the story.
Exactly.
Wow. That Cillian Murphy is just electric.
Yeah, literally.
But I texted all of them and I asked them, what's his name? Charlie Hunnam?
Yes.
Charlie Hunnam. I texted them and I was like, is his performance in Sons of Anarchy anything compelling? Or is his acting performance, what would you note about it? And they all were like, nope, pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're like, he's very conventionally attractive. Yep. And I guess he taps into the, like, unrequited anger thing.
Yeah,
like, quite a bit. But in this movie, I was like, is he just built for TV? Is he just, like, maybe more that guy?
He's just...
And then I was like, is the writing not great? Because it wasn't. Like,
no.
It wasn't.
No.
Like, by any means. I was like, but I'm like, you know, because it's like, even if Idris Elba's giving me some cheesy moments, I'm like, okay, obviously the writing isn't great. But I'm like, no, I think it's also you. Yeah. Charlie, I think you're part of the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not built for movies or TV. He's built to be like that barista that you have a crush on.
Oh.
And you hope, like, starts to remember your order.
The rock climbing setter who, like...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you have one conversation with him and you're like, you're actually the worst person I've ever met.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I wish I could have erased that conversation from my memory so that I could maintain the fantasy version of you in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that while the writing was bad, only person that could pull it off, Charlie Day. Brilliant casting. A mad scientist, Charlie Day. I couldn't have thought of anything better.
But so I remember seeing this movie in the theaters in 2013 and loving it. And at the time being like, wow, that it was an original concept. It was new. It was...
I mean, yeah, it pretty much was.
And it was high... I mean, not original in the way that nobody has ever done kaijus and mechs before.
Yeah,
that's
but like,
a tale as old as time. But
a big budget blockbuster.
In America, specifically. It's a big, the Godzilla movie is way bigger over in Japan. And I think Guillermo Del Toro fucking...
Queen.
Jump scare.
Yeah. Like, which, once I saw that name tacked on, I was like, it makes so much sense.
Right, yeah. It's like, he doesn't want to fuck the monsters this time.
Yeah.
He wants to fight them.
Yeah.
But, like, it's like the stages of grief, right? With Guillermo Del Toro, it's like in one movie, it's like we're curious about them. And the next one, it's like we need to fight them. And we're ending on, like, no, they are our lovers. And this is, I am at peace with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like for an American audience in 2013... It was a new story. It was really high budget. It came out in the summer. It was like a big summer blockbuster. Yeah. And I just remember being like, wow, this is some good shit right here, right? And I was only 13 or 14 at the time, 14, 15. So I, didn't have nearly the critical media skills. Not that I'm, I didn't go to school for, neither of us have any credentials to have opinions by any means. But like, obviously I think I'm a little more critical of media now than I was when I was a teenager. And I just remember being like, wow, that was a lot of fun. Like, that movie was pretty cool. And then since that point, action movies have not evolved or changed or gotten better.
Not once.
And that really upsets me because I really like a fun action sci-fi romp. And
you're very much a sci-fi person. I wouldn't have pegged you as... I know you're not an action person, so that's the thing about this movie that I was a little confused about.
Well, and the reason and less so today is because the genre just continues to disappoint and fail me. That I'm like, constantly, it just is disappointing because I'm like, why is this looking less good? Well, not as well written, and typically unoriginal concepts.
Yep.
That I'm like, so the over-under point for me is truly like Pacific Rim. That's the pass-fail. Is it better or worse than Pacific Rim? And if it's worse than Pacific Rim, then how the fuck did you get it to be made?
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of like my stance on this. I don't know.
Do you think that Pacific Rim was kind of coming off the coattails of Transformers?
Yeah, I do. I think that there was this time in like the early 2010s where you had like the Transformers reboot movies, like the Michael Bay ones, and you also had movies like Real Steel about like the robot boxing with Hugh Jackman.
That's the
like so there was this, I think, this big insurgence of like high budget CG movies about like robot humanoid sort of things.
Yeah.
And the interest about like the connections between humans and technology, just because I think that was probably something that was like reflecting current events in that time. Like, wow, smartphones sure are getting smarter, huh? Let's think about this on the largest scale ever, you know, which is kind of interesting. And obviously, Guillermo Del Toro he pays a lot of homage to those like Japanese Godzilla movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he directly credits those as being the inspiration for a lot of,
and you can see it,
of course. And it's like supposed to be his love letter to it, right? And he had a fucking $200 million budget, and he was like, "I just got to be a kid having fun and making the most fun, stupid movie I could think of." But where it falls short for me is that this movie doesn't have a spine. This movie does not have a backbone, and that shocks me because I do think a lot of Guillermo del Toro movies are not necessarily political, but are at least making some sort of statement and like really sticking to its guns. Like, she wants to fuck that fish. We're unapologetically going to tell you the story of how she wants to fuck that fish, you know? But I know he has made movies that have been critical of like the Spanish government in the past and stuff like that. So it just kind of shocked me that this movie was so like politically spineless. Yeah. Because I think so many stories specifically about the human controlled mech versus kaiju narrative, the best of those stories that have been told are all about how the power structures controlling the mechs are corrupt and bad. Yeah. And like that, I'm Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime, and then like also Attack on Titan comes to mind. And I guess like a lot of the Godzilla movies, I haven't seen them, are like, look, how is the government dealing with this? How, the human condition, the people affected by these actions, right? All of that is just fucking swept to the side.
It's just Idris Elba being really sexy, saying, "We're gonna get the job done.
The apocalypse is canceled."
Literally.
Oh my God. Henry and I watched The Wire. And it's Idris Elba's, like, I'm not going to say breakout performance because he was maybe in some movies and stuff before that, but it was like a big, early 2000s thing that he was in. And he's trying to be American so hard.
Oh, God.
And he is just fighting. And I'm like, that is a British man. That is a British ass man. You put him in front of me and he is, and he does a convincing accent. No, not right. Incorrect. Yeah. That he needs to be British. Yeah. I'm sorry.
100%.
Speaking of atrocious accents, I don't know if you picked up on this, but the father-son duo who are supposed to be from Australia.
Yeah. Horrible.
I don't know where those actors are actually from. It's not Australia.
Certainly not Australia.
At moments, it was the son was way worse than the dad. Yeah. At moments, it was giving Scottish.
Yep.
At moments,
I thought they were British.
At moments, it was just straight up British.
Yeah.
And at other,
I thought they were like a Cockney, like Brit.
Yep. And then at times, it was like an American doing a bad Australian
accent.
Yeah. And it was like, if I want to put clips together of like you're doing a Shrek. What are you doing in my swamp? Yeah. Like, like that's not it, sis.
Nope.
Absolutely not. Oh, if you want a recap of Pacific Rim, it's a sci-fi movie directed by Guillermo Del Toro where basically a rift opens in the Pacific Ocean and big Godzilla-like kaiju monsters come through the rift and start terrorizing cities in the Pacific area, on either coast. So like Californian cities and Japanese cities. And basically the government puts together this program where people control these giant robots to fight they're called Jaegers. But also I just use like mech as like an umbrella term to describe like a giant robot. So they're like these mechs. It's like the military controls all these mechs and only two people can control them because one, it's not, not enough brain power. So they need two people and they need to be drift compatible. which means that their minds meld together so that they can move in perfect syncs to fight the fucking kaiju monsters with their giant robot fists. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
And then we basically get into this story of fucking, what's his name, Raleigh. Charlie Hunnam, who just doesn't have a shard of a personality.
Raleigh, it just reminds me of Rowley from
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Oh my god. But basically his only personality trait is that he's grieving his dead brother, who he used to pilot a mech with. But like, honestly, not even really that much. It comes up like once, and he doesn't even really seem that beat up about it.
No.
Other than that, he like leaves the program to go be a construction worker for 5 years, and then the minute Idris Elba shows up to be like, "Will you come back?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess so."
Yeah, it's giving like Daniel Craig's Bond when he gets shot, and then he just jumps off the map. He was like, "Yeah, you don't need me."
Right.
And then they literally like kiss the tip of his dick, and he's like, "Okay, I'll come.
Right,
I'll come
yeah.
back. I'll come back. Don't worry."
But then the whole conflict is that Idris Elba, who's the head of the Jaeger program for, it's not even any particular country's government. I think it's just like the world.
No, and that's the thing about this movie that is the most unrealistic, is there's a line very early on kind of explaining how the world got to be where it is and
when
what
they
happened.
do the 5 minutes of info dumping at the beginning of this movie to be like, let's catch you up to speed.
Yes.
Let's tell you the entire lore of this movie in the first 5 minutes, just so that we can just get into the nitty gritty stuff. Or like this romance happening between fucking Idris Elba's adopted daughter and Charlie Hunnam, who just showed up.
Between two nothing characters.
She has bangs. She's got a fuck ass bob.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But there's this line that's like, all of the countries in the world put aside their past differences and decided to work together for the greater good. Would never happen.
And they show like a news clip of Obama, which just like really goes to show when this movie was made.
Yeah.
They like do a bunch of news clips like all mashed together of like different languages. Because they're all so concerned. It's just like Obama jump scare in there. Which I'm like,
like no chance though. Everyone is it's going to be another space race of who can make the mech that's going to take down the monsters, and then it's going to be a whole big issue of who has who has the atomic bomb.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, same thing. No chance.
As we're entering like the second act of this movie, I really got to thinking that we really just should have slowed down and delved into some of the concepts in that first 5 minute info dump. And that would have actually made so much more compelling of a movie than what we ended up seeing.
Yeah.
Like we see this great little section where they talk about like the sensationalization of these mech fighters, of these Jaeger pilots, of how they become like basically superheroes.
Yeah.
And they start selling merch. And then there are game shows. And also like then the glorification of the kaijus too, right?
Yes.
Of like, we're going to start making fun of them. Oh, there's action figures. And it's like, you know, this active war that's going on that then the people who aren't directly impacted by it are sort of like this media frenzy of like turning it into this sensationalized like cartoon of itself. And I'm like, that's way more interesting to me.
Absolutely.
Than like, I don't know, about like a contest to see who gets to be the next Jaeger pilot, but it's like really corrupt and like fucked up, and like they're making them like fight for. I mean, now I'm just like talking about the Hunger Games kind of, but right? Like a televised contest where kids have to like kill each other to see like who gets to pilot the mech. Like that would be really something. But I'm kind of like, yeah, let's slow down a little bit, because even though I do appreciate the quick little like we're gonna just lay out for you the lore, and you know, you're not stupid. We're gonna do it really quickly, and you're gonna get it, and then we're gonna tell the story, and don't worry about it. You get it, right? That I can appreciate.
I did like that.
I'm like, some of those little tidbits gave me so much more intrigue than like the pacing of this movie is atrocious.
Horrible.
Dragging. And I'm like, let's go back to the clip of like the Japanese game show where someone was dressed up as a fucking kaiju. And I was like, what was that about?
Right? Tell me more,
Tell
please.
me her story.
Exactly. No, it's oh my god, it's the trying to find the person that's going to be compatible with, what's his name?
Raleigh.
With Raleigh. You know, dragging. You know it's going to be
Mako,
Mako. It's, you know, it just takes way too long. I need more Charlie Day, honestly.
Yes.
He's running around. Charlie Day and who's the guy that plays
Vern Gorman?
Yeah. Who plays, what's his name?
Dr. Gottlieb.
No, not him. Actually.
Ron Perlman.
Yes, Ron Perlman. Thank you. Yeah, and Ron Perlman as Cannibal. What is it?
I don't even know.
Cannibal something.
Cunty.
Loved.
Gold tip shoes.
Loved.
Little sunglasses.
I want the movie about that. I want to know about his kaiju ring, like his
way more interesting.
Exactly.
And I feel like I wish I got more of the Charlie Day scenes, but then I'm like, on paper, actually, we do get a lot. Like
we did get a lot.
Like I am thankful for what they did because they easily could have kept it as like the quirky little side dynamic, humor, comic relief. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's such a funny, silly guy. I like that he actually did play a somewhat important role in the story and that we got to see all of that. But it ultimately was like, okay, for what? Yeah. So that he drifts with the kaiju. Mm-hmm. He can't do it again. Mm-hmm. He has to find the brain to do it again. Mm-hmm. He realizes like the consequences of his actions, basically. Mm-hmm. It then just comes to a head that him and fucking Vern Gorman are going to do it together. Mm-hmm. Is it gay to drift with the kaiju brain with your homie if it's under the guise of being for science? I felt like that was a little gay of him. He was like, I don't agree with you, but I'll do it with you so that you don't have to take the brunt of the force of drifting with this kaiju brain by yourself.
For once, I actually don't think it's gay.
You think it was for the betterment of humanity?
I think it was.
Wow.
I think Bert really hated him.
I was trying to find scraps of something to hold on to here.
This is a very straight movie.
Yeah.
This is an intensely straight movie.
I think it's gayer than Transformers, but it's straighter than, like, any anime.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about what you just said.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, like, Charlie Day's whole thing is that he drifts and finds out that they're basically, like, in a hive mind of that they are trying to colonize the earth and wipe out the human population. Mm-hmm. And that's the initial first piece of great information he gets, which is like, okay, well, you already know they're not your friends.
Yeah.
So you just know that they're operating under a hive mind?
Yeah, what is that telling you?
Okay, no more than 5 of them ever show up at once anyways.
Right.
So great. Okay, great.
More than 1 has ever shown up at the same time, right? It's something,
like two. They're popping out of the rift at increasing numbers.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is that he found out that their DNA is exactly the same, so that they must be clones of one another. Mm-hmm. Also, somewhat inconsequential, right? And then when they drift the second time, they learn that only kaijus can travel through the portal in the rift. So if somebody's going to go down there to try to close it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work, which is a somewhat crucial piece of information, because then we get into the final battle and they're like, we have to grab onto a kaiju and jump in as a suicide mission sort of deal, which is like fine. But I'm like, his whole thing, I wish had more weight to it and had more, because until that very last piece of information, I'm like, why does it matter?
Yeah, right? What is this? You're just off on a tangent.
Which, hey, I'm sad.
I get it.
I'm listening. My ears, I'm listening.
I do the same thing on this podcast.
I'm here critiquing the work of Guillermo Del Toro for my audience of 12. And you know what? And I love you.
The whole thing about it being a suicide mission, I wish everyone died.
I wanted him to be dead at the end.
He should have died.
What were the consequences then? That the Australian guy died?
Yeah, don't care.
That fucking Idris Elba died? Okay.
Sure, whatever.
He was gonna die anyways.
Literally.
He, like, had radiation poisoning. Mm-hmm. Who cares?
What of it? Miko can live, fine.
Whatever.
I also don't care. She could have died and wouldn't... I keep calling her Miko. It's Mako.
Her name is like Mako Mori.
Like, whatever. Everyone should have died. It should have been a true suicide mission, I think.
I'll say it. I'm Team Kaiju.
Yeah.
I think that they just should have romped around and wiped everyone out and been like, job done.
I love it.
The busting through that wall.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely, and they're so cunty.
The design of them.
I was gonna say, I wanted to get into that.
The, like, monster design. I like the kaiju design, or the mech design, the Jaeger designs are like fine, but the Jaeger or the kaiju designs like itch my brain. I'm like, yes. When she sprouted her wings.
Yes. Oh my god. There was a handful of them, and I was like, you all look a little too similar for me.
Mm-hmm.
They all, and I get it, they're all, like, quote, like, copies of each other.
Yeah.
All that shit, so I understand.
I liked the thick one.
Yeah, it was like a gorilla almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, I mean, other than that, they all kind of gave me the same vibe.
Except for Mother.
Except for Mother and her wings.
Oh my god.
Loved that.
Mother and her wings, and then Mother who was pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the bomb of the century.
She's pregnant.
I was like, oh my god. Honestly, that gave me a genuine chuckle, though.
It's giving, if it weren't for the baby.
If it weren't for the baby. If it weren't for the baby kaiju that's gonna eat Ron Perlman.
See, that pissed me off. I wish Ron Perlman's character lived.
Did you watch the post-credit scene?
No, I didn't.
He does. It's of him cutting his way out of the stomach.
Oh!
Yeah, I forget if he returns in the second one or not.
Have you seen the second one?
Yes, I have. It's an abomination. It's far worse. Imagine this movie is my litmus test for yes or no, and it is such a no. So John Boyega used his Star Wars money to start a production company.
And this is what they did?
And this is so they were one of several, it takes multiple production companies to make a movie. And obviously a much bigger one was responsible for most of the financial backing, but he's the star of it.
Yes.
But his production company was the one who really spearheaded the idea of like Pacific Rim needs a sequel.
Because we
can't let this franchise die.
It's not even a franchise.
Yeah.
We need to make this
and so Guillermo Del Toro did not direct the second one. And
rightfully so.
And in fact, he says he's never even seen it. He was like, I just never got around to
Good.
Just like not my jam. But the second one is arguably so much worse. And the only part of the second one worth noting is that Charlie Day in the second one gets like addicted to drifting with kaiju brains. And he's like busting nuts and like tweaking out because he loves drifting with the kaiju brains. But it also turns out that it's like they're infecting his mind and doing like mind control on him to like make him evil, because it's like he's, it's a two-way street or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like, in fact, but there's just like a series of scenes of him like basically like writhing around and busting because of how much he loves to drift with kaiju brain.
That's so up his alley.
That's what I want Charlie Day to be doing.
Exactly.
To me and for me, that's what I want to see.
Absolutely. Totally on that wave with you. Like you said, like, it's just crazy to me that CGI is so much worse now.
So
the CGI was beautiful.
I have a theory.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it's passable.
You think? I thought it was a lot better. Well, I mean, I guess it's just because everything I see now
looks bad.
Dog shit garbage.
And it's like better than you would expect. You're like, wow, 2013. It had an enormous budget.
Yeah.
$200 million is a very large budget for a movie. So it had a very high budget. I think it looks, for what it is, it looks very good. Like, I was impressed. I was certainly very impressed when I saw it, back in the day.
Yeah.
But I have a theory that movies, I mean, it's not like my theory. I didn't come up with this, but I subscribe.
So you're on the train. Yeah.
I subscribe to the idea that movies nowadays, intended to be blockbuster, multi-million-dollar budgeted movies from huge corporate monopoly studios lie and say that a budget of a movie is 10 times of what the spending actually was. They spend 10 million and say they spent 100 because they're clearly not paying for animators, VFX artists, and new technology because it doesn't look as good as Pacific Rim, which came out in 2013. Yeah. I swear it. And so they're lying.
They're trying to cut corners.
And so they're saying it cost 100 when it costs 10. And that way, when the movie doesn't do well, they don't have to pay taxes because they lost money. Yeah. Or like, on the books or whatever. They get to tuck that extra $90 million away to do with whatever they want because they said that because they only spent 10 of the 100, which I don't know enough about like Hollywood accounting. But to me, if they're tucking 90 away, you surely can pay some people off to cook the books and not get audited by the IRS.
Easily.
Especially when your movie is literal military propaganda.
Yep.
Of course, nobody's going to, bat an eye that you spent $200 million to make the greatest epic superhero story of the century, when in reality, it looks awful because you didn't actually pay anyone.
Yep.
That's what I think is happening, because I'm like, The Little Mermaid looked like shit. It was dark, like, not dark as in content, dark as in there was no lighting.
Yeah.
Flounder, botched.
Oh no, poor little Jacob Tremblay.
On Ozempic.
No.
Skinty. No personality.
No.
Sebastian, fuckery. That movie looked so bad. And I'm like, Disney, you could not get a character designer to look at Flounder, the drawn fish, and come up with something that kids could look into its eyes and not see the cold, dead eyes of a fish. Look up what Flounder looks like and tell me that they had a $200 million budget and that's what they came up with.
Bro, what?
It's fucked. It's just a fish.
God.
It's just a fish. Like, an ounce of effort could have been put into that.
That's so bad.
And I just think about, like, I think specifically the newest Doctor Strange movie.
Dog shit.
Like, there were so many things I saw on Twitter of people pointing out just, like, blaring errors in the CGI of just things that were straight up unrendered, lighting coming from multiple directions in ways that just does not make sense. Like, so many things that are just fundamental knowledge, right? And that anyone, you do not have to have any sort of trained eye to pick out that is not what that is supposed to look like. And it's because they're tucking all that money away for themselves, for whatever. And
it makes so much sense.
And stupid. And because I'm like, can you please, because, okay, so my newest, I haven't seen this yet, but I really want to go see Godzilla -1.
I've heard it's fantastic.
From what I've seen in the trailer, it looks amazing. Like, the quality of animation, the VFX, they look top of the line, state of the art, as if, in the way that they are utilizing current technology to its maximum standard to produce something that looks visually intriguing and cohesive and realistic in a way while also being, a monster movie. That movie had a budget of under $15 million.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, for real.
Holy
under
shit.
$15 million. And so that fucking proves that if they can make that movie that looks like that for less than $15 million, then why does the new Aquaman movie look like that?
Just pumping them out.
Why?
Just pumping them out. I wonder how long it took to make -1 as well, and how much of a how much time plays a role in it.
True.
Because these things, like I said, that filmed last year, Aquaman, or something like that.
Yeah.
It takes time to do like CGI. It takes a lot of time. That's what 90% of the time spent after the movie is. Yeah. Like, you could, if your movie had like no CGI in it, basically, you could have that turned around in a year or something like that. You know what I mean?
But like computer graphics, of course, it takes people, it takes well-trained people, and it takes them a lot of time, and you have to have them on a salary and pay them a lot of money, because also if you're cutting corners, they're not going to do a good job.
And when did Aquaman shoot? Probably last year. Yeah. It's already coming out. Yeah, it's going to be dog shit. You don't give them enough time.
I'm wondering if there will be some sort of like public cultural conversation, because I think it's starting, but I do think it's starting primarily on like quote unquote like movie people are talking about it, whereas I wonder if it'll seep more into like the public eye of just pointing out how much worse things look and just objectively comparing them to things that came out 10 years ago. Wish. Movie Wish. Yeah. I'm like,
shit ass movie. Shit ass Disney movie.
When are parents who are taking their kids to these going to be like, this looks worse than the stuff that came out in 2006 when I was little? That what the hell is happening? I think that, it doesn't really affect, if things don't affect people directly, they will tend to care less. And so movies looking less good is, that's neither here nor there for a lot of people, but it's like a serious conversation to be had because that's a lot of people's livelihoods. Yeah. Well, and I want to see shit that looks good.
Well, I'm interested to see all the movies that are now coming out that were written and produced and directed during the writers and actors strike.
Oh, God.
Which Wish, definitely one of them. What's that new movie? It was produced by the Obamas. It's got fucking Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts and
the Netflix one.
Yeah, the Netflix one.
Yeah, it's like an apocalypse movie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The Obamas.
Yeah, they produced it or helped produce it. Leave the World Behind.
Interesting.
I
don't know anything about this other than that it was just the first thing that popped up when I opened my Netflix and I continued to scroll to find the thing I wanted to watch.
Yeah, heard it's dog shit.
Of course.
I think it probably got pumped out immediately after the actors' strike ended, and But I think now we're gonna see all of the dog shit that has just been marinating since then.
If there's anyone that I'm drift compatible with, it's probably my mother, Jen, who we say the same thing at the same time in the exact same intonation, but like not on purpose, way too much. It's actually embarrassing. We were like at a counter ordering food the other day, and the guy was like, give me just a second. And I think like at the same intonation, we both went like, oh, that's okay. Or like, no worries. Or like just the same like Catholic guilty, like, oh, don't even worry about me kind of phrase at the same time. And then we looked at each other. I was like, oh God, I need to be less your daughter. But anyways, Jen, my drift compatible. If Jen and I were to pilot a Jaeger, I think we couldn't kill anything. We would just like just hang
out. We would fall. We would trip over our feet.
Yes, exactly. We would be drift compatible, but we would not be good at piloting the mech. That's for fucking sure. But Jen's here to host Chocolate or Vanilla, her interim podcast segment where she says two things, and we all say which one we like better. Jen, is there a theme this week?
There is. For no particular reason, I did healthy foods.
Healthy foods? What the fuck? Right before Christmas, too? You sicko. Okay.
Well, I've done unhealthy foods so many times.
This is true. Also, what does healthy mean? Because if it's healthy for my heart and my emotions, then I think that means that the Chantilly cream vanilla bean cake from Trader Joe's is a nutritious dinner.
Absolutely.
That you ate at the movies last night.
Yeah.
Dara busted out a cake.
Ideal. Especially for Wonka.
Yeah, we were at the theater to see Wonka. I was not about to eat some fuck-ass candy from some $9 Bunch of Crunch. No, I wanted a cake.
That's what we'll
You should have eaten, like, Wonka candy.
Yeah, Wonka candy is garbage, though.
It's true. It's true.
The nerds will do, like, pica.
There's
the pica.
Nerds clusters.
Oh.
So, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Strawberries or blueberries?
Blueberries.
I also like blueberries. I don't like the seeds that the strawberries have.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I would pick strawberry every time. Avocado or kale?
I'm going to say avocado because that is like arguably it's a fat, right? So it's not even that healthy. And I'm usually
it's like the healthy fat.
I'm putting it in a context where I'm saying that the thing I'm eating is healthy because it has avocado on it. But that's just like ultimately not true, even a little bit. It's like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, but because I put avocado on it, I'm like, it's healthy.
I'm going to have to go for avocado because I had avocado toast for lunch today. But I do love a kale chip. If you ever make them at home,
okay.
How do you make them just in the oven, or do you have like a dehydrator? Oh, bake them in the oven.
Yep.
Yeah. I will go avocado. And yes, avocado toast is amazing. Next one, salmon or shrimp?
I don't fuck with salmon. Personally, I like it like smoked salmon on a bagel or like in a sushi situation. But I don't really fuck with, like, whatever preparation of... Like, gun to my head, I would eat it, and I would not suffer, but I would never choose it. My other option is shrimp, you said. Mm-hmm. I'm shrimp girly. Mm-hmm. If there's anything from the ocean that I could keep like all others are going away
Shrimp.
and I'm keeping one, it's shrimp.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I'm not a salmon guy. I don't think I've got any of the seafood gene yet. I gotta wait the next round until my taste buds get there. But shrimp I can do. Like salmon is still like
It's too fishy, you think?
not even too fishy. It's just it's okay.
I know. I'm gonna say salmon because I made the effort to like. I wanted to like it so much because it's so good for you. So, but I do think it kind of tastes like whatever you put on it.
Yeah.
So next one, sushi or pho?
Ooh, I love pho, but I do have the cilantro gene where cilantro tastes like soap to me, and a lot of pho comes with a lot of cilantro in it, so I have to like either be a pussy and ask them to leave it out, which always
cilantro, please.
Yeah, which is so embarrassing. Or like I'll just like pick around it, but I'm
it's so good too with like that kind of food.
But I do like pho, but I guess I'll pick sushi just on the default here.
Yeah. I'm also gonna have to go sushi on this one, even though I am definitely still that guy that gets a lot of cooked rolls. So
tempura.
Yeah, always tempura. But again, I'm working on it. Give me another like 6 years. Maybe my genetic code will change or something.
Yeah, your taste buds change every 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really hoping for.
It's like
So, if you think there's 6 years left, did you feel like they just changed this last year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think pretty recently.
I'm hoping to get pickles in my next one. Like I have my wish list for like what I want. I'm like mustard.
Yeah.
But it's like the same way that like I just turned 25, so my brain stops developing. So now I can't learn anything new. It's like that. Like I can't like any new foods until it clicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the gear turns.
If you get the mustard and pickle thing going, sandwiches will just be a completely different experience for you.
For real. Oh my god.
I will go with sushi also for the sweet, but I do love pho. And I did not give you the cilantro gene because I don't think it tastes like soap. I think it tastes delicious.
Jen said, couldn't be me.
Okay.
Jen and I are actually no longer drift compatible because you have to have the cilantro taste like soap gene for that to work. Sorry.
Next one, almonds or walnuts?
I don't fuck with a walnut, to be honest. I think it's a shitty pecan. I want a pecan. Every time I eat a walnut, I'm like, I wish this was a pecan. So I'll go for almonds.
I love a walnut. It's like buttery. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna go walnut on that one. Almonds
They're really good for you.
Yeah, almonds are fine. They're just crunchy.
Yeah, I like both, but as far as like a snack by itself, I would say almonds. I also think, they make more almonds with flavoring on them.
Yeah,
than walnuts.
an almond is typically viewed as a vehicle for salt. Whereas, what is a walnut? The thing that I'm like, really, it's in this brownie. I'd rather not.
I love it.
Next one, broccoli or red bell pepper?
Ooh,
that's tough. Those are two like.
I'm gonna say red bell pepper because I think it has more uses across the board. And I also Henry doesn't like it's like all of those vegetables that come from the same plant that are all like it's like kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts,
cruciferous.
Yeah.
What is it?
Cruciferous.
Right? Yes, it sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah. Henry, he can fuck with kale. He can perhaps get behind a Brussels sprout in certain scenarios, but he does not fuck with broccoli. Dang. And I feel like it's like that. All of those vegetables taste like relatively similar. And I want to get him to like it, but can't want them all. I'm a broccoli bitch. A little broccoli cheddar soup. Ooh.
Yeah, I like broccoli. I'm sure he's roasted it before, but like you gotta get it crispy.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like boiled broccoli. Fuck that. No, absolutely not. I do have to agree with you though. I think a red bell pepper has many more uses, and I think for that reason I have to join you on that train.
I had both these things in my omelet this morning, but I will go for broccoli. repeating on the kale, sorry. Spinach salad or kale salad?
Oh.
I am gonna say kale because I think it's like a little heartier.
Mhm.
I think spinach has the potential to be like kind of wilty and sad.
Ugh, it's always
Especially as
really
takeout,
sad.
yeah.
And like I don't ever want to buy just spinach. I want to buy spinach like in a context of like also arugula and other
Yeah.
things. Like I don't really want spinach just by itself.
Yeah.
So, but kale, I could fuck with some kale by itself.
Yeah, I gotta go for kale because it stays for a long time, and again, it's like there's more structural integrity with kale.
Yeah.
Spinach, you have it in your fridge for a day, haven't even opened it, wilted.
Or
Yeah.
if you're trying to
Gross.
cook with it too,
Yeah.
you put in the entire bin of spinach and it waters down to like a
An
single
ounce.
leaf.
Yeah,
I'm like, where did it go?
exactly. But the trick, I guess, for anyone out there that has wilty spinach too often, just put a paper towel in it. It absorbs like all of the water that
That sounds great.
accumulates. I swear it helps for like any sort of leafy green.
Okay, Martha Stewart. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll try it.
This is what I learned from living with Kesty for so long. So
I will go with a kale salad also. Next one, quinoa or brown rice?
I'll say quinoa for like textural diversity. I feel like brown rice is kind of a cop-out. You're like, it's healthy because it's brown, where it's like, is it? Just
No,
have
it's all
the
the
white
same.
rice. It's people at Chipotle in line,
all the
and
same.
you're getting the brown rice. I'm like,
Yeah. Have you ever ordered it on the app? You see how many calories it is?
it's
The same.
Yeah.
Oh,
The exact
bummer.
same. I fucking love quinoa.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay, ancient grain.
So I'm gonna have to use her.
Yep, I definitely like a quinoa bowl. You put just meat and veggies on it.
That's
and there
all
you go.
need.
Yep,
So
so
simple.
true. Next one. For your Cliff Bar, you going with peanut butter or white chocolate macadamia?
White
Oh.
chocolate macadamia, not Cliff Bar.
Yep.
That's what I had for lunch
From-
today.
Brink
Yep.
from the edge of death. Truly, that's the thing that's at the bottom
Of your backpack, right?
of my backpack. It's squished, and it's been there for 6 years. But I know that when the day comes that I need her, she's there for me, and she's gonna taste impeccable.
Absolutely. White chocolate macadamia. No, the peanut butter ones just feels like cement in my mouth.
Yeah, that's what makes it like a meal substitute, though. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
yeah, white chocolate macadamia, given the choice. Next one, chickpeas or hummus?
Well, okay, sure. I mean, right. This is like I had like a wrap that was like falafels with hummus and then also like crunchy chickpeas. And I was like, wow, we have all the food groups right here. All of the different forms
All the chickpea food
of
groups.
chickpea. I guess I'll say hummus because I definitely eat chickpeas in the form of hummus way more often than I do in their natural state.
Yeah, I have to say hummus as well because if you ever get the chickpeas out of the can, the smell, revolting.
It's like cat food.
Horrifying. I
Why
can't
is it
eat
so
it after that.
nasty?
I can't eat it. Like, I need someone else to do it for me if I'm going to be putting those in a salad
You
in
have
a dish.
to
or
rinse
something.
those.
Yeah.
Triple rinse them.
Yeah. They need to be sterilized.
And the fact that the liquid in that can is what
An egg replacer?
vegans use to make like aquafaba.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
sure
is that true?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm sure it works out in the end. I'm sure your vegan brownies are fine. But, like, how can
No.
you, as a person,
It's gross.
take that liquid and be like, dumping it into my red velvet cake?
It's disgusting.
Absolutely
No,
not.
it tastes so much different. What are those things? They're like, they're really light, but it's basically all sugar and like whipped.
Meringue?
Yes, meringue.
Yeah.
I've had like someone make meringues, and I side by side like the regular ones and the aquafaba ones. Aquafaba ones, horrific.
Wow, Emily, just hate on all the vegan bakers out there. I just think pick something that you don't need to be doing all that.
Yeah.
You can make really good vegan cookies without putting chickpeas in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a fact.
Yeah. Did you pick hummus?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to pick hummus. We have a big tub of Wegmans caramelized onion hummus in the fridge right now. It's so good.
I love that Big Hummus has
Big Hummus.
Big hummus energy.
It's convinced everyone that hummus is healthy for you.
Yes, it's not. It's just
Yeah, I know.
oil, like, and hummus as a vehicle for other like unhealthy. They're like it's
Right.
a layer of garlic.
Yeah.
It's just a layer of salt and garlic.
That's how I was between like a hummus toast today or an avocado toast, and I was like, well, at least one has like healthy fats and isn't just oil.
Next one, oat milk or almond milk?
Oat milk.
I guess oat milk. I have oat milk I think is good with like lattes and stuff like that. On its own, it's fine. But if you are the kind of person that puts like just a little bit of oat milk in your coffee, I think that's weird and fucked up because it doesn't like mix at all. It just sits on the top.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that statement.
But oat milk still. Almond milk is gross.
I think oat milk is a better substitute.
Yeah, and almond milk is like
It's like nothing.
yeah, and the cost to make a gallon of almond milk is absurd.
I believe that.
Yeah, there is something about like the environmental impact of
almond milk.
The energy it takes to make almond milk is actually like not worse than the dairy industry because that's just not true, but like comparable.
Yeah.
Next one, kombucha or a turmeric latte?
Turmeric is fake. I feel like I know that
it's anti-inflammatory.
Okay, if you eat like a brick of it though, right? Like, or if you take it in like a condensed pill form, if you like sprinkle a little bit on the top of your fucking whatever. I don't really fuck with kombucha, but I have learned that it's a pretty good alcoholic mixer. That it's one of those things that like tonic water tastes like ass and gin tastes like ass, but you put them together and something magical happens. I don't really fuck with kombucha, but like you put a little kombucha and a little vodka and suddenly just it's neutralizing all of those stanky fermented flavors. It kind of mellows
that makes
out.
sense considering that you don't like vinegary things.
Yeah, I'm not super into the fermented vibe.
I love kombucha. I love vinegar. I love kombucha. It's so funny because people will tell you to drink like once you've been drinking to drink kombucha because like you like. And this could be totally fake, but like because you've almost like sterilized the germs in your gut.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you put new germs in your body.
Oh,
the good germs.
Cute.
I think that honestly, it sounds really fake. Yeah. I could just be talking out
I'm like,
my ass.
Turmeric is fake, and then you're here being like, you need to add
good germs.
After you Windex your gut, you need to add in the turmeric or add in the kombucha germs. Right.
I think it's all bullshit.
I'm like, I had cake for dinner. Nothing is helping me. Nothing is fixing me.
I will go with the turmeric latte because I think I will go with the anti-inflammatory instead of like the probiotic, I guess. Next one, speaking of vinegar, apple cider vinegar or balsamic vinegar?
Balsamic. For sure, C's.
Yeah, balsamic, absolutely.
Yeah, I have never tried it, but so many people try to like take a shot of apple cider vinegar before bed or something.
I took some gummies for a while, which I also think are fake. Vitamin gummies are not real. I'm convinced. They're just selling you gummies and saying that it's vitamin D.
You know, some of them taste so good, I don't care.
I want to eat a lot of them, and it's really hard for them to just sit on my shelf.
Yeah, right? The sleep ones. What is it? The melatonin ones. And what's the brand? It's like Ollie or something like that.
Yeah.
I could pound
They're so good.
like carton of them if I so chose. Trying to take one before bed, almost impossible.
It's like having one Lay's chip. It's as if they were like, Lay's has this thing where this one chip has enough vitamin D for you today, but only one.
Literally. I've never shown more restraint than before than 10 minutes before I go to bed.
By taking my one vitamin gummy. Especially when they like encrust it with sugar.
Oh my
like
God.
a gumdrop.
Come on.
That's just what they do with edibles now, but like they still taste like dog shit with sugar.
I'll go with you guys and go balsamic. And then last one, veggie burger or turkey burger?
I can't even think of the last time I had either of these things. But I guess I'll say the veggie burger because I do think that there are some pretty solid like veggie burger options that don't like I honestly feel like I might go for a veggie burger over like the fake meat thing, like the Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
Because that feels like a
definitely
little weird. Whereas the veggie burger, I'm like, okay, I can see a whole ass black bean in here. Like I know that that's a real food, not made in a lab. Whereas a turkey burger, I'm like, fuck that. Can I just have a turkey sandwich? Can we just rethink this whole operation?
See, I think turkey, like, are you talking like deli meat turkey?
Yeah, or like even like, I don't know, like a turkey club or something. I'm just like, why are we replacing, let's just have a different sandwich. Let's just have a different food.
I'm so pro ground turkey. Like, I will use that as a replacement for, like, any, like, beef if I'm trying to be, like, a little healthier or whatever.
Skinty. Who are you, my dad?
No, really. But I am a slut for turkey burgers. Trader Joe's, the 4-pack of turkey burgers for, like, $2 something or whatever. Steal. Best deal of my life.
Yeah, I'm with you, Em. I like a good turkey burger. And I think veggie burgers can be either really good or not good at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a turkey burger, you know what you're getting yourself into. Yes, it's bland, but like you just gotta have a good sauce to go on it. You're fine.
Great. And that is it for healthy eating, chocolate or vanilla.
Wow, love it, Jen. Thank you so much, as always, for being here, making us say things, choices, decisions, opinions. As always, we love you, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, I love you. Have an awesome night.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
And I know, like, the amount of money a movie makes isn't really a great litmus test on whether it was objectively good or bad. Mm-hmm. Like, we know that usually the things that are the highest grossing are typically not actually the best films or the films that we should be commemorating each year. But like I think about Barbie a lot and the way that is Barbie currently the highest grossing film of this year? I think it's probably so.
I think so. Yeah.
I would think it's up there. I think it's like it's Barbie. I know Oppenheimer is in at least the top 5. Barbie. And then fucking the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and probably like a handful of other.
When did Avatar come out? The new Avatar?
That was last year.
That was last year? Jesus.
But that's an example to me of a movie that has an enormous budget that you look at it and you think, yeah, I know where that money went. Mm-hmm. They filmed all 5 movies back to back so that the kids wouldn't age. Mm-hmm. They filmed actors in mocap suits for like 3 straight fucking years. Mm-hmm. And, say what you want about Avatar. I thought Avatar: The Way of Water looked fucking impeccable.
Of course.
And,
that's its whole thing.
And seeing it in 3D was like fucking perfect, right? Like there were no flaws. There were no mistakes. Yeah. It makes sense to me that movie costs $1 billion. Of
course.
Because it looks like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm like, that should be our standard of like, why do things look the way they do?
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm trying to remember what other big blockbusters
there were this year. But I think about Barbie, and I think that Barbie had a really successful way of set design, right? A lot of practical sets, props, things, made to look plastic and shiny to sort of aid into the world building of all of it. And I'm like, can we shift maybe more people's idea of what movies or movie production, movie making process is to like that? Because that movie did not have a huge budget for CGI and visual effects, I'm sure. And it looks fucking perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it so charismatic and everything like that is that scene of Barbie and Ken doing their travel, and it's like all paper backgrounds and moving parts, you know what I mean? Which, like, just embrace it, dude. Not everything. Dude, you don't need to CGI a dog.
Yeah.
There's dog actors.
Or even like a movie like this, like Pacific Rim, a lot of the sets of them destroying cities, those are miniatures.
Yeah.
You build and you make miniatures, and that's how you shoot your movie. You don't CG every little fucking thing. I mean, obviously that also takes visual effects and time.
Yeah.
And stuff like
Some
that.
of the most beautiful effects from like the old Star Wars movies, all miniatures.
Yeah, the paintings.
Yeah,
so
gorgeous.
Cool. And I think people find that more like interesting to then after the fact learn those and be like, oh my god, wow, that's so cool. Rather than like a computer did this. Like, okay.
Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
But just a way that I personally would have, if I were to rewrite this movie, right?
Please.
The way that I would want to make it a little bit more interesting without, directly referencing to or copying other just Jaeger versus mech or mech versus kaiju storylines that are just like objectively better is that I just feel like the central conflict here was between the humans and the monsters. And the monsters' intent was to just destroy. So there's nothing compelling there.
Yeah.
Of course, they're fighting this enemy whose only goal is to wipe them out, right?
Yeah.
So we're only getting...
I love that it's not complex. It's just they just want to take over.
And the battles, I'm like, give me more of just them fucking around and dunking giant Godzillas into the ocean and turning her arm into a cunty sword and slashing through. Like, I would rather have had 100 times more of those scenes than the such weak character building of like, oh, they're flirting and they like each other. The fact that you can only drift with somebody who's either your sibling or who you want to fuck.
Literally.
That's like, literally, I'm not that this movie flat out says that, but everyone who's drift compatible with someone, it's like, it's their sibling or they're fucking.
Do you think you and Henry could drift?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Maya and I couldn't.
No way.
No.
We can't even be in the kitchen at the same time. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But the way that scene between Charlie Hunnam and Idris Elba, where Charlie Hunnam is like, I want to try, fighting with your adopted daughter because, I know she wants to be a pilot. And then they like do their little tango. And he's like, this is who my co-pilot should be. And he's like, no. And he says something is like, it's also about physical compatibility. So he's literally like, Idris Elba,
I'm going to bone your daughter.
I'm going to fuck your daughter whether you like it or not. So you better let us do war together. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is that?
Oh my God. I want to see the movie where it's two strangers that are just like really drift compatible and have no training at all.
Or it would have just been so much more compelling of a story if like there was even an ounce of conflict with his brother, right? Him and his dead brother used to have this neural link.
Yeah.
He used to be drift compatible with his brother. And so maybe like finding someone new is like impossible. Or he has to like let go of that past. Literally, it was just that, oh, he's drift compatible with her now, which means that she knows his emotions and she feels the dead brother's emotions.
Yeah.
That's it. Resolved in a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't we create some sort of dynamic tension here where it's like, maybe they're not drift compatible.
No tension at all in this movie. Not even when there's kaijus popping up.
No. I mean, the tension is between the kaijus and me.
I'm drift compatible with them, if you know what I'm saying.
With Mother. But I also wish that an interesting, if we're not going to go the route of just, I want more fight scenes, of like, let's also look towards this new government structure of this Jaeger program that's selecting people and spending supposedly government money to like build these walls and create these things of like, there's got to be some sort of way to talk about corruption or like military industrial complexes. Or just like literally anything in there other than like these guys are awesome and they're showing up to be awesome and kill the monsters. And like, that's what we get.
Yep.
That's what we get from that. And like the head of the program, Idris Elba, is a good character, a sympathetic character.
Yep.
We root for him. I feel like there needs to be some sort of like pointing the lens upwards and being like, what are the problems with the way we've chosen to deal with this this issue?
Yeah.
That's so much more interesting to me.
100%.
Than just like there were no cracks
Nothing.
for us to look into. It was just like,
even the Charlie Day stuff, like, hardly a crack.
he's like, so I'm gonna do this thing, it might be crazy, and then he does it and it works exactly the way he wants it to. And that's it.
Great. Basically no repercussions.
Which we get into it in the second movie, which unfortunately just like really let itself go.
Yeah.
But I just also want to say that every time they said the names of the mechs, Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Stop. Is that what was?
Well, Gypsy Danger.
Gypsy Danger, yep.
But every time they're like, we got to get Gypsy out of here. I'm like, Gypsy Rose Blanchard being released from prison in 3 days. Like,
oh my God. Let's get her to watch Pacific Rim.
Let's get her. I love those TikToks that are like the first thing I show Gypsy Rose after she gets out.
212 by Azalea Banks.
They're like, we need to get her as a guest on Drag Race.
God.
We need to put her on like Worst Cooks in America. We need to put Gypsy Rose Blanchard in every public.
I want Gypsy Rose to co-host The Bald and the Beautiful, but with Katya specifically.
Yeah.
I think that would be really something.
I feel like George Santos is like probably really upset that as he is moving out of the limelight, it's Gypsy Rose's time. Like, I bet he feels a lot of animosity towards her.
Absolutely.
That like the attention economy has shifted from his business to it's about to be all about Miss Gypsy.
100%.
I'm so over the George Santos thing. It's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, Z-Way jumped on it too late.
Yeah, well, that takes too much time.
Yeah.
To like, but that was the end cap for me.
Yeah,
like, okay, we're done with this.
Yeah. He did kind of eat her up, though.
He, in those cameos.
What do we do to get rid of you? Stop inviting me. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. He got you.
Yeah.
And to get her, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying respect, but like
somebody asked us once who our dream guest on the pod would be. Z-Way is my nightmare guest.
Yeah.
I could not deal with that level of high context.
Yeah.
Like
bit.
Yes.
It's too much for me.
No.
It's like I want her and Nathan Fielder to team up.
To have a bit off.
Yeah, that would be, I think that's the thing that would open up the rift in the Pacific.
And then just giant Komodo dragons just fucking start eating people.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Z-Way is nightmare guest. Like, I can't. I can commit to a bit for a minute. I can't commit like that.
I like to view that stuff for like media consumption pleasure, but I do not like when people talk to me like that.
No.
I'm like, I am too awkward to tell whether you're joking with me or not.
All the time. All the time.
I need you to say exactly what you mean.
Literally,
please.
Yeah. I'm like, when my partner does that with me, I get nervous.
Do we want to get into our regularly scheduled programming?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
I feel like we haven't done Fuck, Marry, Kill in a minute. That's because we did Penguins last week.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I just got to give us the whole cast here.
Okay.
Rather than like, what do we want to do? Fucking Idris Elba, Charlie Hunnam, and Macklemore. Like, that's boring to me. So I'm going to say of the whole movie, I'm just going to give us free reign because I'm obviously marrying Ron Perlman.
Yeah, easily.
Do you also know that he, like, as a person is just, like, fucking awesome? His politics are great. He just constantly calls. Like, as a celebrity, I think he's a good example of somebody who uses their platform to, like, say what they think and be honest and be like, yeah, like, this is what's happening in the government and it's fucked up and you should pay attention to it. I'm like, yeah, Ron Perlman.
You're right.
I'm glad you're saying it.
Yeah, I'm also going to marry Ron Perlman.
Because I also want to, like, wear a cunty outfit and be his, like, side girl who, like, collects the scarabs or something. Like, yeah. For sure.
Like, it's just the hottest version of you. You know what I mean?
They have no business making his outfit that hard of a serve.
So slightly.
He did not need to be wearing gold tip boots.
I loved the shoes. I loved the glasses. Oh my God.
The, like, red alligator skin fucking trench coat. Love.
Yeah, you're wearing, like, the tightest latex in your life, but, like, you're gonna look amazing.
Do you know that picture of the guy suspended in latex in The Cube? Like, that's what I'm like in the corner in the cube
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
They roll you around.
It's kaiju skin though, so it's
Of
like,
course, yeah.
I'm testing a new product.
Of course, yeah. Obviously.
And then I think I'm gonna fuck Charlie Day just because he's like the only character with a personality. Charlie Hunnam is so boring. He's
So
gonna
boring.
hit it in like noiseless missionary
for
6.5 minutes.
Not
Even though he's so pretty, it's just not gonna do anything for me.
I'm gonna fuck the Australian dad.
Oh, the one with the broken arm?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I see that.
He's at least a little more charismatic than like the others.
Yeah. He was also giving me an ounce of something, but then the accent was just, I was like, oh, this is bad. And then I'm gonna kill... Who am I gonna kill?
I'm gonna kill the other scientist who didn't believe in Charlie Day.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, he came around.
But
I'm gonna kill Idris Elba.
Okay.
Because he's gonna die anyway.
That's fair.
Or maybe I'll also
And he's a military man.
Yeah. And I was just like, what is any of this?
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna eat and drink with this?
So I like to do the play on words thing with a drink. So obviously I'm looking for a monster drink.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of giving Halloween-y, but it also sounds very good. It's called Tito's Monster Smash.
And it's like Monster Energy drink?
No. I was looking for one of those, but also that sounds horrible.
I cannot fuck with energy drinks, especially like super artificially sweetened.
Yeah.
No, something with quote unquote zero sugar that tastes like ass.
Yeah.
But like Red Bulls, I cannot do it.
I love a Red Bull.
I cannot do it. But I could do a Red Bull before a million times over before I could do a Monster.
Exactly.
That shit sends tingles into my brain that fires my synapses at a level that I just cannot handle.
Yep. Exactly.
Absolutely not.
But so the Monster Smash is ounce and a half of Tito's, ounce and a half of tonic, half ounce of simple syrup, a lime squeezed over 5 muddled grapes. Which,
okay.
Which I think, well, have you ever done that thing where you like freeze grapes and like put like lime juice on it and it tastes like a Skittle or something like that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
It's like the girls who put balsamic vinegar into seltzer water and say it's a healthy Diet Coke.
That's disgusting.
That's the same thing as saying squeezing lime on a frozen grape is a Skittle.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's what your almond mom gives you as a snack is your fake Diet Coke and your fake Skittles.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what Northwest is bringing to school for lunch.
No, Northwest is picking her own lunch.
Stormy.
I think, yes, there you go. I think Northwest is on the Lunchables wave.
I think we're going to get Stormy as a guest on the pod to talk about the new Wonka movie. I want to know what she thinks.
I
need
love.
to know.
But yeah, I think that, and for some reason, this movie's like boyish and big budget enough that I think like bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers.
Okay.
Just something real indulgent. The way that Guillermo Del Toro just indulged making this goofy ass movie. But what about you?
I like that. Also, like a bacon wrapped jalapeno popper is going to be the nuclear bomb that
setting off the reactor.
That erupts the rift between my mouth and my ass. Like that's what we're sending down the pipe to cause the reaction. I also obviously did a wordplay thing. Pacific Rim the glass. What do I want to rim the glass with? Tajin. What's a good drink with a nice spicy rim? As like a spicy jalapeno watermelon margarita.
Love.
You make like a nice little simple syrup with like a little bit of, like spicy, like a little reduce some jalapenos and some sugar, make a little simple syrup, and then make yourself like a watermelon margarita. I personally would sub tequila for white rum in this drink, but you know,
well, that's you.
To each their own. And then you have your cunty little spicy watermelon margarita, and then Pacific, what is within the Pacific, but also to me is also representative of like, this movie is a hyper Americanized, commercialized version of a concept that is better executed in its origin state, which is like Japan, right? So it's this Japanese thing that we basically took and made this not great thing out of. So in the Pacific, what's a great cuisine? Hawaiian. What's the most hyper Americanized version of that is just the Hawaiian pizza.
Yep.
Just putting pineapple and ham on a pizza, which I had for the first time pretty recently. A hell of a lot of garlic and pineapple on a pizza.
Gas.
Super gas.
Believe it.
I was never like pro or against it, but I was always just kind of like, I'm not going to choose to eat that.
Yeah.
I went for it recently. I'm a fan.
Okay.
I'm pro.
I haven't tried it, so
For
I'll
sure.
have to.
Yeah. I think that garlic is to me, if it was just the pineapple and the ham, I'd be like, I could take or leave it. Fucking garlicky as hell, because then you've got like the sweet pineapple, but the garlicky and the
that makes sense to me.
Was pretty fire. And then what are you going to follow this up with?
I want to go for something that is kind of in the same tangent, still has that mechanical element, still like the sort of water atmosphere, because a lot of the fights are like in water, because the rift is in the middle of the ocean. But I wanted something with more sexual tension, better plot, better writing. You know, you're going to watch Atlantis.
Oh, nothing gets me going with Atlantis.
For some reason, the design of their sort of ships in that scratch my brain.
It's
in
like
the
more
same way.
steampunk.
Yeah, absolutely. But it felt kind of a little like adjacent to this.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
What about you?
I had like two loose ones that are movies I have not actually seen, so I cannot in good faith tell you to watch them. But my first one is go see Godzilla -1. Yeah. As just an example of something that I think is a conversation we should all start being a lot louder about.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm really excited to go see that one. I would love to catch it while it's still in the theater. And then the second one is if you want another It's Always Sunny actor doing something a little surprising, to see Glenn Howerton in the Blackberry movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about his performance.
Fantastic.
And he just tickles me in the same way.
Him.
Yeah, in the same way that Charlie Day tickles me. Obviously, he tickles me. But I'm ultimately going to come around and say that you should watch the Wachowski sisters' Speed Racer.
Okay. Yep.
Which is, to me, the perfect example of how you take something like an anime or a cartoon or just like a very highly visual, conceptual thing, and you turn it into a live action movie. And it's just very stylized. And the way that they did that is more of what I wanted out of this movie. I wanted it just to be a little louder. Yeah. A little, not even sillier, but just taking itself a little less seriously and letting some of those visuals, maybe you should make Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Maybe she should be like rose gold and like kind of cunty. Like the design of it, like lean into it. Make the monsters look a little more interesting and silly. Yeah. Which the monsters I had less of a design issue with than like
the robots.
Put everyone in a cunty outfit like Ron Perlman. Yeah. It's the future. Like have fun with it.
Literally.
Which they do in Speed Racer a lot. And I just think it's a really good example of like the way to do stylization in your film that is like receptive.
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna give this out of 10?
5?
A 5, because it's the above or below. To me, this movie is the pass-fail movie. Yeah. It sits right on the axis, right on the center, and it's above or below. It's the Pacific Rim test.
Yeah, it was hard for me to stay off my phone on this one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, especially like during the long, drawn-out parts where you're like, oh my god, let's keep this going. Like,
I guess I'm going to play another round of 2048 while this happens.
Yeah, the pacing atrocious, the dialogue atrocious. Yeah. And
design fine.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, 5. It's my above or below.
Yeah, so totally agree with you there.
If anyone has a really good action movie, preferably one within the like highly visual stylized, doesn't have to have a big budget, but in theory would have cost a lot of money to make and look nice from the past 10 years that you think passes the Pacific Rim test.
Mad Max.
Yes, obviously. Of course. Yes, that is a great example. Yeah. But drop some of your like sci-fi action movie recs to me, because I love the genre. I just am losing faith in it.
Yeah, it's getting difficult to watch.
And I figured I didn't want to pick all movies that I just loved for this month. I wanted to have a little chit chat this week.
I love that.
So
couldn't be me. But
happy holidays to all who have holidays they celebrate this winter. And stay sane. I know sometimes like it's like a very stressful time for a lot of people, more than it is like a fun time. So just, I don't know, your weird racist family members, ignore them. just listen to our podcast on the drive home
There
or
you go.
something. I'm not gonna save you from your racist uncle,
No.
but this is me telling you that you're allowed to say offensive things back to them.
Absolutely.
Or like lie to them.
Yeah.
And like make shit up. Or just say to people, I saw a great thing recently, that is if somebody, specifically a family member, says something to you, a really great response is to just say, what a strange thing to say to me.
Yeah, I've seen that.
What an odd thing to say, right?
Brilliant.
Like, why would you bring that up? Like, just what a strange thing to say. Because to be on the receiving end of that, like, that's gonna cause some internal.
Yeah.
Hopefully, will cause some internal turmoil. So that's my tidbit of advice.
Hang in there.
Hang in there, everyone. And we're hanging in this week. A little late, but we love you all. And I don't think it's gonna happen. But if by the end of this year we can get to 4.9 stars on Spotify and to 100 Apple Podcasts reviews, I will add words to our theme song. Brilliant. This is my last call to action.
Your swan song.
This is my swan song. I don't think y'all are gonna do it. And this, I am not gonna make this offer again. I'm telling you, I am not making this offer again. Until I'm asking you to do something next year. No, just kidding. I will not be offering this again. I will come up with something else. Also, check out our Patreon if you want a gift for yourself. It's $2.86, and you'll get a bunch of backlog bonus content, mostly where we just talk about stuff we have seen in the theaters recently.
Yeah.
And if you are a patron, let us know what you want us to cover. Or if you're not a patron, let us know what you would like us to cover.
We're going to give you a nice Christmas gift this year on the Patreon.
Yes.
So.
We love you all. Thank you for drifting with us this week. And goodbye and good night.